Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Lawrence. I currently am a teacher in a self-contained autistic support classroom, and I work at Wilson High School in West Lawn, Pennsylvania. Next is Alyssa.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Gordon. I am a first grade teacher at Spring Grove Elementary in a gen ed classroom. Next is Megan.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan Gavel. I am an assistant in a K-1 autistic support classroom. We're also self-contained and I work in Red Lion Area School District. Today we're going to be talking about our topic and we focused on behavioral interventions and how they relate to teacher implementation, individualized interventions, and group programming.
Okay. In order to obtain our articles, through the use of Zotero, we created a group library, which included the relevant articles that we located through EBSCOhost and Google Scholar. To begin the process, we identified a foundational article that was based on our topic. From there, we searched backward by using the references identified in the foundational article. If we didn't have enough references from our original foundational article, we then identified a second foundational article to use those references as well. We also searched forward to see what additional articles cited our foundational article. So in order to do that, we had to use Google Scholar because it provided a link for this to occur with ease. It told us how many times our foundational article was actually cited in other articles. After locating each of our articles, Zotero helped us to tag them in order to separate them based on topic or type of research, which was also helpful when we began to write our literature review. Notes were also added in Zotero, which allowed each of us to see what all the articles were about in order to facilitate our group meeting discussions. Since we all located so many different articles, providing a summary through the notes was helpful, and that way we could collaborate when we met.
All right, so what questions are at the heart of our literature? We all deal with problem behaviors on different severities. Monica and Megan both work with students in a special ed classroom. They both witness a variety of behaviors, but Monica noticed that once they get to the older grades, they start to have some more severe problem behaviors. Megan and I both work with elementary age students in different environments, but we noticed the same similar problem behaviors. We wanted to focus on what interventions are most effective to help decrease these severe problem behaviors that might start appearing when they get to the older ages. Our main question for our literature research was what creates effective interventions to help reduce problem behaviors, from which then we focused on interventions for problem behaviors, and we determined that there were 3 focus areas for our research.
So what trends did you find in participating in participant sampling, data collection, types of research for your topic? Research, I discovered that almost all of our research was quantitative. And with my personal studies, the majority were comparative studies. Some were correlational and a few were experimental. The sample populations were typically purposeful, and they were conducted either school-wide, like within like every school across the district. I did have one study that was statewide, and then one study was nationwide, sorry. The data collection consisted typically of questionnaire surveys, observations, and interviews.
Okay. While reviewing all of my research articles, I realized that many of my studies were meta-analyses. Therefore, the sampling methods were purposeful since the researchers set limitations to how they located their own studies in order to write their paper. When the studies were experimental, the sampling still appeared to be purposeful. They had an idea of what sample population they wanted to work with. And during the experiments, when the researchers were collecting information on the behavior intervention program, Likert scales were often used along with pre and post tests to determine if the specific program yielded positive results, and they often did.
All right, and then in my research, I wanted to start by focusing on elementary age students. I found a majority of mine involving experimental design research, which looked at small sample groups, whether it was individualized groups or just a few students. I found additional articles also that kind of focused on the teacher and the administrator's outlooks on interventions. Plus, I found a few meta-analyses that looked at individual interventions as well.
Okay, so what themes did you find and what are the main findings? For me, the main findings focused on what teachers need to implement interventions. Research focused on how teachers are best trained and prepared to deliver high quality instruction. The biggest factor that impacted implementation, it was the type of intervention. So it looked at was school-wide intervention more effective or like standalone within one classroom. The support received from the administration, the quality of training that the teachers received, and the teachers' philosophy about teaching. So if their philosophy matched the intervention's instructional approach.
Okay. I found that programs that focused on the mental health of a student provided consistently positive results, as opposed to kind of reacting to already exhibiting problem behaviors or the students that are already exhibiting them. It seemed that these programs, such as mindfulness education, help students to decrease problem behaviors and become more aware of themselves as people. So they understood and developed some coping strategies in order to work through some of their frustrations. The results of the intervention programs also recognized and saw an increase in academic achievement. So overall, not only were they learning how to manage their own behavior, it was also coming across academically.
I found that there were most of my articles I found were small sample groups. So I wasn't looking at a large group. It was only looking at a few selected students. But even though looking at a few students, it resulted in effective interventions. And most of them were implemented in a typical setting with typical agents like teachers or the special ed teachers. In some articles, it talked about how these interventions were easy to use and were just built in on top of the pre-existing school-wide programs, which was nice just to see how as an additional part implemented into the school. Something else I found was a lot of the articles I found talked about check-in, check-out programs. But it could be a downfall with the effectiveness based on this program really focuses on adult attention. So a lot of the students decreased their behaviors, but a main factor was the praise and the attention they got from the adults. It also talked about the feedback they got throughout the entire day as well. But all these studies that I analyzed resulted in some degree of a decreased behavior problem. So it was all positive in some way. Throughout our research, we did find some strengths and weaknesses through our topic. One of our main strengths was the finding from all the articles was that they were all positive results. We didn't come across many studies that didn't show a decrease in problem behaviors or positive aspects to these problem behavior interventions. While researching, we did determine that there were a lot of studies that involved interventions. This is due to the fact that interventions were started when IDEA was created. Although this could be a strength, but it was kind of hard to narrow down our search, so that really kind of affected us when we were researching based on the wide range of articles. We were able to find some good articles to support our topic and our themes. Another weakness we found was that that many studies were not conducted over a length of time. So they were very short studies, whether it was a few weeks or maybe a month or two. And there was a limit of how many studies we found that were over a long length of time. So it would have been good to see studies done over maybe multiple months or even years. Also, we all researched different aspects of interventions, and one thing we found to be similar was that there were multiple definitions of problem behaviors. So these were some of the weaknesses we did come across when we were analyzing articles.
So how is this theoretically or practically important to you? Personally, these findings are important to me because working in an autistic support classroom, we service students with varying abilities who engage in very different behaviors, attend regular ed, while others stay in a room full time. As a result, we follow the school-wide effective behavior support plan, utilize ABA strategies, and follow specific FBEs for students who exhibit those more severe behaviors. So I was interested to see as a whole what factors seem to have the greatest impact on attention in general when looking at the whole school population rather than just one population.
For me, these findings helped me realize what aspects really affect interventions when thinking about a school-wide program or individual interventions. My district is actually starting a new bully program to help instill character traits for the students. And the findings we found in these research helped me to be more aware of the teacher's role and what they need prior to implementing. So as a leader on that team, it's going to be helpful to see from the research what actually goes into implementing these interventions before and during. Another thing that I took from the research was that the interventions that I found had a lot to do with praise and adult attention to show those positive results for the students.
Finally, the information that we discovered throughout the research helped me to realize how difficult it can be for a school district to decide on a program, how difficult or simple it can be to implement, and how beneficial the programs can be for students. Some of the students in my classroom have behavior plans, and it was interesting to learn all that goes into the development of a plan or an intervention program. And since I work in a high school, it was interesting to find out that these programs occur at the elementary level, and hopefully they carry those skills once they reach the high school level. Thank you for taking the time to view our video. We hope we provided you with some information on behavior intervention, and we wish you all well with your future classes. Thank you.